In the heart of the city, there was an old, abandoned building that no one dared enter after dark. It was said to be haunted by the spirit of a woman known as the Lady in Red. The story went that she was once a glamorous singer in the 1930s, performing in the speakeasy that once thrived in the building's basement. But one night, after her final performance, she was found dead, her throat slashed, her blood staining the red dress she always wore. Her killer was never found, and the club shut down soon after. Decades passed, but the building remained standing, a dark blot in the city's bright skyline. Locals swore that if you walked by it at midnight, you could hear the faint sound of jazz music drifting through the broken windows. And sometimes, if you looked closely, you could see the lady in red standing in the shadows, her eyes glowing with an eerie light. One night, a group of teenagers, daring each other to be brave, decided to sneak into the building. Armed with flashlights and phones, they made their way inside, their laughter echoing off the crumbling walls. The air was thick with dust, and the smell of mildew was overpowering, but they pressed on, descending the stairs to the basement. As they reached the bottom, the temperature dropped sharply, and the faint sound of a woman singing reached their ears. They froze, their eyes wide with fear as they realized the voice was coming from the direction of the old stage, now just a dark void at the far end of the room. One of the boys, trying to seem tough, called out, "Is anyone there?" The singing stopped abruptly, replaced by an ominous silence. Then, from the darkness, the lady in red appeared, her dress shimmering as if still wet with blood. Her face was a mask of anger and sorrow, her eyes piercing each of them with a cold, unearthly stare. The teenagers screamed and turned to flee, but the basement door slammed shut, trapping them inside. The lady in red began to move toward them, her figure gliding across the floor without a sound. The last thing they saw before the lights on their phones died was her reaching out, her hand stained with blood, and the room was plunged into darkness. The next morning, the police found the teenagers huddled in the corner of the basement, their eyes wide open, their faces frozen in terror. The only clue to what happened was the faint sound of jazz music still playing in the background, and a single red dress, draped across the stage, soaked in blood.
Ha ha ha!